Welcome to In the Light of Reason, where you get informed insights on relevant topics. So today, we would have our erudite and cerebral Professor Douglas Anili, and we'll be talking about the current situation in Nigeria. So, Prof, we'd like you to talk about the current situation in Nigeria in relation to the dividends of democracy and political blindness, which is fueled by ethnic and religious factors.
Ordinarily, the dividends of democracy should mean the benefits majority of the population in a geopolitical entity like Nigeria should derive in a political setup. Now, like every other concept, the notion of democracy is it's a controversial notion. Although the American president of the 19th century, Abraham Lincoln, gave an immortal definition of democracy as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. This may be a digression, but the idea that democracy started from ancient Greece is actually fiction. It did not. Because by the time ancient Greeks were practicing their own brand of democracy, in Aboriginal Igbo land, democracy was actually the mode of administration of Igbo communities thousands of years before the ancient Greeks began to practice democracy. It's on record. Well, a lot of people who are historically ignorant peddle the mythology that democracy started in ancient Greece. It did not. Now, what are the so-called democracy dividends? They are not far to seek. Security, good infrastructure, affordable healthcare, education, affordable food. In fact, when you look at the hierarchy of needs as postulated by the psychologist Abraham Maslow, any democratic setup that ministers to these basic needs, not to talk about the human need for self-actualization and self-discovery and self-fulfillment. Any democratic setup that is not presenting these dividends, these benefits to the people, is actually not providing dividends of democracy. The current situation today in Nigeria is very, very disappointing, because instead of enjoying the dividends of democracy, Nigerians are experiencing the punishment of a corrupted democratic system. There is virtually no aspect of the lives of the average Nigerian that has not been negatively impacted by the poorly thought out, hasty, and incoherent policies of the present government, to the extent that all the indices of human development in Nigeria today are tending towards the negative band of the spectrum. Is it education? Is it health? Is it agriculture? Is it productivity in general? Is it infrastructure? What we have in Nigeria today is a nation in retreat. So irrespective of the fine, highfalutin grammar supporters of this government are peddling across the media, both mainstream and social, the fact remains that the reality of life in Nigeria today, if I may re-echo the immortal formulations of the British philosopher Thomas Hobbes, is poor, solitary, nasty, brutish, and short. And if you think I'm being very harsh, look around you. There is kidnapping, there is banditry, there is all kinds of social malaise, not to talk of the escalating cost of basic items for the citizens. So, if you ask me, Nigerians are actually experiencing the hardships of what, if I may borrow from the late maverick musician Fela Anikulapo Kuti, Nigerians are facing the hardships of the more crazy. The more crazy. That is, they are crazy. So, it is imperative for us to understand that a government that is presiding over a people whose standard of living is dropping on a daily basis cannot be said to be providing dividends of democracy. No. Irrespective of statistics, doctored statistics, fabricated statistics that are emanating from official quarters, the truth of today is that the life of average Nigerian is very precarious and hard. Recently, the wife of the president said her husband is not the cause of her problem. You see, the people in government are actually adding insult to the injury Nigerians are experiencing today. Gospel Akpabio, one of the overdressed, overfed, what I may call scavengers in authority today, tell Nigerians that wherever you see food, help yourself. In other words, aside from incompetent, mediocre, inhuman governance, they are mocking the average Nigerians for actually accommodating the consequences of their incompetent handling of the nation's affairs. And I don't blame them, because Nigerians themselves, in some cases, seem to be their own worst enemies, because they forgot that elections have consequences. So by the time they enable their oppressors, the pigs in the animal farm called Nigeria, to deceive them with all kinds of promises, with so-called palliatives, as if we are in a war zone, they fail to realize that decisions they make at the ballot box have consequences. Although there is good evidence to show that quite a significant number of people in power today did not get there through fair and fair elections. So, to round off, Nigerians are not getting dividends of democracy. They are experiencing the hardships of democracy. And truly, the ruling class are not only mismanaging the country, they are adding insult to injuries by the careless, irascible, and stupid statements they are making to Nigerians on a daily basis.